Looking good today. Team David Meltzer in the house. If you have not registered for training, all you got to do, email me, david@dmeltzer.com, or join our text community, 949-298-2905. If you miss any trainings, not a problem. I've been doing them for over 20 years. They're featured on Spotify, Entrepreneur, and every platform. You can go to the playbook, and there's a special playlist of the playbook. And you can go ahead and catch all of those trainings. And if you want the guides, the exercises, even my books, all you got to do is email me, david@dmeltzer.com. I'll sign those, send them out, pay for shipping for you. Chef Rob is in the house as well. We got a big day planned. Let's get to some questions as we get warmed up here for Friday training. What kind of prizes we're giving away? How did filming go this week and what kind of prizes we're giving away? A duplicative question, two in one. First of all, we filmed 2-Minute Drill. It will air in January on Bloomberg Television. It will air on Amazon Prime. Check that out. And we give over $50,000 of cash and prizes for each episode. There is no grand champion. There's just a champion of each episode. 12 episodes will be coming out in January. You'll love it. We got the founder from Uber, the co-founder of LinkedIn, myself. You have the CEO of Verb Technologies. You have the Bradley Tusk. It just goes on and on, the amount of great lessons we'll learn. It's all about the lessons. 2-Minute Drill. How do we share a vision and make a pitch? Determinative. We got companies that are in the millions down to just good ideas. I'm still waiting for a mom to come on and pitch broccoli. I don't know where Team David Meltzer is today, but there's no questions in there. Let's get this going. I'm not just wasting my time, am I? I'm here to answer some questions to help people make money, have fun. Let's put those questions in there and get this thing going. Also, let me see if anyone's coming in here. Where are we at? Just rolling down there. So many amazing guests and judges. Thank you. Good morning, Team David Meltzer. I cannot see any questions, so if you want to go ahead and comment a question, here we go. I think Instagram was slow. Thank you so much. What's the greatest lesson of budgeting? Tune in at 11 a.m. Tune in. It's taking your emotions out of budgeting. That's the greatest lesson. But I'm going to teach you how to do that. You cannot budget with emotion. That doesn't work. It's counterintuitive and it's counterproductive. Great question, though, and I'm going to hit that today hard. How to pick a good solicitor. Solicitor in Europe is an attorney. You need an attorney that aligns with your values. One of my biggest clients are the just lawyers, and these guys are branded of being just. They want to be fair to both parties. They want a non-emotional experience for you, a maximization of finding what best suits both parties economically and emotionally. So find a lawyer or a solicitor that's aligned with your values and make sure you get 3 referrals. Ask them what they liked about them, they didn't like about them, etc. How do you budget for writing a book? Reverse engineer, connect the dots backwards. We'll go through that as well. And all of these, we will have a huge Q&A section on budgeting. I saw a funny question here. Let me see here. How to raise $100,000 in a day. Give $200,000 of value. Can you see the reason you won't want to give me $100,000 if I guarantee you'll get $200,000? That's easy. Ask and show and quantify value and articulate the quantification of that value, and you'll have no problem raising or making more than $100,000. How to manage money. Excuse me. How to manage money and invest in right things, and how to identify what is right. You need to take inventory of your values, personal, experiential, giving and receiving every day. You need to adjust according to the external circumstances by looking within, by looking at your values, utilizing what you have in a percentage, extracting the emotions. Once again, we will be training that today. You will get exercises, guides. Just email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Come join me at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, every Friday. Over 20 years, I've been doing free trainings to help people with this stuff. You can get my books, my guides, my exercises. Free. Come on. Let's improve ourselves, expand and grow. All right, we're going to bring on a friend of mine. Here we go. Andy Andrews, author. Best-selling author of How Do You Kill 11 Million People, The Noticer, and The Traveler's Gift. Andy Andrews, welcome. How are you?
David, how are you?
It's so nice to see a real author. Now, I say that because it became so easy to write a book. And I think that's a good thing, because there's so many different mediums in which we can express ourselves. But I know by studying the brain that reading a book does something different to us. And you've been writing for many, many years. You don't write pamphlets, you write bestsellers and ones that sell in bookstores, ones that we can read not just once, but we want to read it again and again, just like some kids want to watch TikTok all day. Uh, what has changed in the industry from when you've started, and how have you adapted to it?
I think the biggest thing that has changed is when I started, self-publishing was kind of like, that was the odd redheaded stepchild, that nobody wanted. It was kind of what you had to do if you couldn't get a publisher. It was the holy grail to get a major publisher. And now the major publishing industry, I look and I think, well, I'm not sure. I've told authors for a long time, David, because I've never met one who was happy with their publisher ever, right? I went,
I'm not. I'm not.
I went to the Maui Writers Conference one time, and I heard this guy. His name was John Saul, and he wrote the Guardian series. And everybody was supposed to go around the room, 75 authors, supposed to tell, 20 seconds to something that happened this year. And I had one book that had made the New York Times bestseller list, and I was working on my second book, and and here's this guy. It gets to him, and he says, "I'm John Saul. This year I had my 38th number one best New York Times bestseller. No thanks to my publisher." And I thought, if he is mad at his publisher, and so I've told people forever, look, if you get a major publisher, if you have the mindset that they print your book without you paying for it and make it available to bookstores. I mean, you're the one that's got to move it. You're the one that's got to get it, looked at in bookstores. Because if it goes in bookstores, it's going to be spine out in the back. Somebody's going to have to go in and ask for it. And so I think the major thing that has changed is if you were self-publishing years ago, you couldn't get on any bestseller list and you couldn't get distribution, and you can now.
And you can make more money. That's the one thing that has changed. You couldn't make no money self-publishing because of that distribution issue, the marketing issues, and the credibility issue. It's almost turned its head that you're almost to an advantage of not utilizing a publisher if you can afford to not use one. Now, in the traditional sense, I mean, you are a very seasoned, well-established, acknowledged author. You have been asked to speak by 4 different presidents. You have 3 New York Times bestsellers. And I want to point out to people that aren't authors that when someone says they're a bestseller, like in my first book, I'm an Amazon bestseller, right? And I know that anyone can be an Amazon bestseller. I was a number 1 bestseller for weeks on Amazon, and I still hit it every once in a while. That does not hold the same credibility as a New York Times bestseller. That's the holy grail of acknowledgement, because the Wall Street Journal bestsellers, the Amazon bestsellers, these systems can be manipulated with cash. The New York Times goes off of quality, and you have 3: How to Kill 11 Million People. You have your series now, The Noticer, which includes The Noticer, Noticer Returns, and Just Jones, and then of course the original, The Traveler's Gift, which, by the way, your first book, your second place to Jack Canfield, who I wrote a book with. Jack Canfield and Mark Victor Hansen went to, I believe, 121 publishers before they got someone to say yes. You only went to 51 publishers. You should write a book about taking no for an answer.
I was talking to the guys yesterday, Mark Lowry and Buddy Green, who wrote the song, Mary Did You Know, that Christmas song. And it took them 6 years to get somebody to even record it. And now over 1,000 people have recorded that song.
Yeah, so, it's like Pharrell, my favorite, the Happy song. Every one of those great stars that he had been writing music for said, this song sucks. You can keep it. I won't sing it. I won't sing it. And that's what actually ironically elevated him to a superstar as a performer beyond just a songwriter. Now, one other thing that I find fascinating that you and I share is you've read over 200 biographies of historic figures. I am a history buff. My mom made me. I'm probably one of the few people that can tell you this. My mom made me read Ben Franklin's autobiography, which is a beast, and I don't suggest someone read it. But I kept complaining to her. She said, "You're not going to college until you read this book." And I'm like, "Mom, this thing sucks." And there was no internet back then, right there. And I'm like, "I hate this book. It's 900 pages. It's boring." I said, "What am I looking for?" She said, "Human nature." She said, "I want you to go to college studying the history of everything you study, because that's going to determine human nature. And if you can be a PhD in human nature, you will always be successful and happy." And I think that book in other biographies have helped me more in my life. Sports and biographies taught me human nature, which taught me how to be successful, to enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of our potential, which is a key component of an author. What are the lessons that you've learned from reading all of those biographies?
I learned perspective. I think perspective is such a key. It's more important than answers ultimately, because a lot of times, there's just not an answer right then you could pick up off the floor and shove into the situation. And so perspective brings calm. Calm leads to clear thinking. Clear thinking yields ideas. And from ideas, we get answers with the right timing. And so those biographies, and I was like you, I hated biographies. But Jones, the old man, the noticer, he told me one time, because he handed me three. And I thought, oh my God, because it was Winston Churchill, George Washington Carver, and Will Rogers. And I thought, and I didn't know what to say. I said, biographies? He said, no, these are adventure stories. These are mysteries, romances, thrillers, and it's all true. And as I read it, I saw all that, but I knew I was thinking that because he had said it, but I was still legitimately thinking it. So perspective turns out to be, if you ask people, what is perspective? People say, well, it's, whether they see the glass half full or half empty. And that's only partly true, because perspective is how you choose to see it. I mean, the glass is what it is, but how you choose to see it will send your life down one road or another.
And to me, I believe the same thing, that perspective is a tool, a weapon. It's an empowering source that allows us, no matter what the glass appears to be, it allows us to find the light, the love, and the lesson in that glass. And once we find that lesson, which we find in all of your books, from The Noticer to, do you kill 11 million people? How do you kill 11 million people? To, of course, The Traveler's Gift. It's the lessons that make those books so wonderful. And, your glass is overflowing because you share so many terrific lessons in such an organic way in a medium that, has changed over the years. But still, I think there's millions and millions of people that like to sit down with a hardcover book, and they learn better, they experience better, and like you say, they learn those lessons. For you, what's in this Noticer series, what's the big lesson that you want people to learn for their own perspective?
I think the greatest thing that can happen right now is that people gather a proof of hope. I speak like you do, David. I'm probably not nearly as good as you are, but I speak, and I see sometimes people, they don't know what to say. They say, oh, motivation or whatever. And I'm not so much into motivation as I am proof. I think encouragement's great. I think proof is better. Motivation has a statute of limitations. Encouragement does, but I think proof is eminently better. And I think more than anything right now, people need a proof of hope, that there is something that things are gonna get better, and Jones, the old man, the noticer, gave me a proof of hope one time, because I had said, yeah, I get hopeful and then I just like lose it. And he said, there is a proof of hope. And I said, really? He said, yeah, it's that you're still here. You're breathing. Because if you're still here, that means you haven't accomplished what you're put here to accomplish. If you haven't accomplished what you're put here to accomplish, that means that your very purpose has not yet been fulfilled. If your very purpose hadn't been fulfilled, that means the best part of your life is still ahead of you. The most important part of your life is still ahead of you. And so just by the virtue of the fact that you are here and breathing, there is more. It doesn't matter if you're in the worst time of your life, there is more.
It's so interesting that you say that because, with that proof of hope uh, comes certainty. And this is the first generation. You and I grew up in, and it was amazing. There was some really bad things that were happening in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. But the one thing, no matter what you were born in as an immigrant or brought to this country, there was a certainty of hope of being a United States citizen, that you could be whatever you wanted to be. It was a matter to you. And we've lost that proof, like you said, of hope that gives the certainty that we can be what we must be. And I think that series of yours teaches a terrific lesson that we all need to have and share with each other, especially the young people today, to give them back their proof of hope.
I thank you very much. And I really believe, what you do is so empowering to people. You're right. There is a certainty that is wavering now. And I really, really do want people to have a certainty about their futures, and to understand that all the distractions, that people get in trouble, and their first three defaults are, I don't have enough money, or I don't have enough time, or I don't have the right influence or leadership. You really, in reality, those are symptoms. You're never lacking money. You're never lacking time. You're never lacking leadership. You're only lacking one thing, just lacking an idea. One idea. We've seen one idea make billions of dollars. We've seen one idea save millions of lives. And one idea will move you from where you are to where you want to be. Just an idea. And if you ever get to thinking all the ideas have been taken, you got to remember, we put men on the moon before anybody thought to put wheels on luggage. All right. So there's plenty of.
That's a great way to end, my friend. What an honor to be with you, Andy Andrews. Check out the Noticer series. It's in every bookstore, Amazon, everywhere you can find it. I promise you, you will end up having that certainty of hope, that proof of hope from the great series that he's written. Thank you, Andy. I look forward to having you back on. Congratulations.
Thank you, David. Appreciate the time. It's an honor.
It's an honor for me. Thank you. And I noticed another great author, John Asseroff, in the house. Mr. Asseroff, the king of my favorite saying of Law of Goya, get off your ass. That man, he knows how to be productive and accessible and gracious with his time for so many people, changing lives. He's one of my best friends and mentors. John Asseroff, thank you very much for joining us. All right, let's see who's here. I'm looking for one of the most famous chefs in the world. He said he's going to come on and say hi as well. I got one of the world thought leaders, John Asseroff, for the movie The Secret originally, but he does so much more with Inner Size and an unbelievable program of how to expand and accelerate what you're doing. Ming Tsai, Nick Glazer's in the house. Let's take a quick question while Ming comes on. Ming's Bings is in the house. How would you pitch your business to a potential investor? I will tell you how you pitch your, first of all, if you want, there he is. If you want the perfect pitch guide, I will give it to you for free. Email me, oops, I pinned the wrong thing. David at dmeltzer.com. I will give you my free guide to the perfect pitch, which includes credibility, emotional attachment. There we go. Let me get my thing. Sorry, Ming. It's my first time using Instagram in the last 3 minutes. I don't know how I screwed that up. If I can get a quick request from you, it would be great. Once I pinned you, you went dead. How do I make a request for Ming to come on? Come on, help me out, Jakey Biggie. Sent you a request, view request. Ming Tsai, Ming's Bing, and I'm stuck. Ming, if you can send a request to me or relog in, I appreciate it. Will not hide live video from Ming Tsai, report comment. It won't let me do it. Gosh darn it. All right, he'll come back on in 1 minute. We'll get it back on here. There, he'll get in. Bonnie, congratulations for being on our show. We cannot say who wins, but it was nice to have you on the show. Can you leave and come back in? Let me take a quick question while Ming's making up for my mistake. How do you influence your environment more than it influences you? Look within. You cannot control what's outside of you. You cannot find what is outside of you that you can't find inside of you. The only way that we can influence our external places is to change inside. And that will then please come back in. I am making this difficult on my friend Ming, but he is worth it. He's incredible. Wait till you feel his energy, knowledge, and wait till you hear what he has. The Ming Bings. It is a vegan delight. Yeah, and here he goes. All right, there we go. Dave Meltzer figures this out. There we go. All right, I'm getting excited now. I know Colleen's excited too. One of our favorite people. He's coming on right here, all the way from Boston, I'm sure, in the cold. It's 72 and sunny here, Ming. Move where the sun is and make me some of that delicious, healthy, organic, vegan Ming's Bings. I need it. I need you. Coming in, we're waiting for Ming to come on. It says we're waiting. He's coming on. The anticipation is growing. The great Ming Tsai, also a philanthropist. He has fed more people than cities. It's crazy. He is a true humanitarian and an unbelievable talent, intellect, philanthropist, humanitarian, and God, man, he makes really good food. If you ever eaten at the Blue Dragon, for example. But these new Mings, they're incredible. All right, I do not know what's going on with my man. It will not let him in. Let me try one more time, Jakey Bakey. I'm looking hard. He's here. There we go. Let me in, he says. I love it. All right, we'll try it this way. One more time. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Here we go.
Here we go. What's up, Dave Meltzer?
You know, some people would say you and I have a high intellect, an academic intellect.
I was waiting for you to request me, but anyway.
I know until they just saw that interaction, we were holding some high academic credibility between.
And look, and I have a stereotypical thing that I should just be boom.
Exactly.
But I'm not gonna say I invented the web or the internet. No, that's not me.
We'll let Gore do that. Anyway, I just have to tell you, you sent out one of the first batches of Ming's Bings to me, and typical Ming style. He doesn't really, just so graciously, doesn't really promote it, doesn't say anything. All I get is these delicious things in the mail saying, Dave, try these. And I try them, and my wife tries them, and my kids try them. And then I'm stuck because they're like, Dad, go buy some more of those. We want to have those. And I was like, I have no idea what I just had, let alone where to buy them. And dude, you need some Dave Meltzer marketing. This is incredible. This is one of the most delicious, healthy things that I've had. The Ming's Bings. Tell me why you created them, and tell me how great they are.
Yep. Thank you. It's great to see you, by the way, buddy. I've been been listening to all your great interviews. You're continue to inspire lots of us. So thank you. Thank you for trying to help all of us through this crazy times we're in. So Ming's Bings, by the way, how much time do we have? Do I have 2 hours, 3 hours? What do I got?
You can have as much as you want. Who needs to work today? I miss you so much.
So the story actually goes back to three years ago plus. And I'll let you know that this story ends up great. It started with the surprise that my wife was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer out of the blue, right? And not a non-smoker, of course. And that started a whole new chapter of my life, right? When something as earth-shattering happens like that, the love of your life, the mother of your 2 children, you drop everything. And literally, so I had a project to do a fast casual Chinese concept, just dropped it. Nothing matters then, right? We're so fortunate to be in Boston, some of the best cancer hospitals in the world, Dana-Farber being the one we're at. So a combination, like my whole life, East and West, has saved my wife's life. So the West, of course, was the awesome oral therapy she takes, the AstraZeneca makes called Tagrisso, that literally wiped the cancer out of her body, which is fantastic. But the second part is we need to change the way we live, including her diet. So by me reducing my stress, that would reduce the stress of the household. So opening a chain is not a way to reduce stress. So I downsized and focused on family first, my wife first. She decided, and I agreed, and collectively to go vegan. There's just so much empirical and true evidence about food as medicine. Food can actually help prevent diseases, all diseases, including cancer. And as a side note, as we all know, because you and I believe in science like gravity and stuff, it can also help the planet. So she became vegan. We started juicing in the morning, and fortunately, her husband's a chef, so the food
A
is
great
great for
chef.
me. Yeah, thank you. And I love, and I like eating a lot of vegetarian too. I mean, I love fish, of course, that's sushi and all that, and I will eat a steak every, twice a month maybe. I'm not against meat, but I prefer veg, and that's the Asian diet. So that was fine and dandy, but back then I still had to travel. And so I would go to the Whole Foods of the world, all the great grocery stores, say, I wonder what they have in the veggie patty section, because I never really had to go there before, because I would always, my wife wasn't vegan, and they're all the same. They're all these hockey puck things that kind of look like oatmeal cookies, but they're emulsified dry chickpeas and soybeans and stuff. But they're very popular. I mean, there's Prager's, there's Boca's, there's Gardein, and there's a lot of people that just want to go plant-based. And you don't have to go vegan. You could be plant-based twice a week too, right? Or just be plant-based to dinner, which is what I usually do. And so it became my mission. Says, I need to create a better veggie patty that is good for you, that's made with whole veg. No, sorry, all the veggie patties are good for you, but even better for you. I want to make them with only superfoods, and I want to put the emulsifier on the outside. So instead of emulsifying and doing a hockey puck, I created a gluten-free wrapper made out of brown rice, and I stuff it with all walks dirt. So watercress, which is the healthiest green vegetable in the world with kale, right? It bats 1,000 on the NDI. Shiitakes for your immune system. NDI is a nutritional density index, by the way, so it's a perfect green vegetable. Pepitas and edamames for smart fat and smart protein. Garlic, ginger, onions for natural antioxidants, and shiitakes to build your immune system, which we all need now, especially during COVID. So that became the creation of Ming's Bings, and we literally launched 2 weeks ago. You got the before we launched. You got it before in the stores. And I'm so proud to say that we started online, and we actually had to close to the country. We're just doing New England right now because of the challenges of UPS and FedEx, obviously. During the holiday season, everyone is shipping stuff. And bluntly, I'm really concerned about the dry ice shortage we're going to have because of the vaccines, right? And we're talking about 300 million people got to get vaccines plus. So there's not going to be a lot of dry ice. You and I should buy a dry ice company, my friend.
I've invested in
Yeah, of
ice.
course you
You
have.
know me, man.
Of course
I
you
just
have.
sent
Hey,
an
get
email
me in on
today.
that. I actually want to partner because I need a lot of dry ice. So we'll talk offline if you
Also
don't mind.
mobile freezer storage. Mobile
Yeah.
freezer
Oh, you
storage.
kidding me? Yeah. Can we please
Yeah.
talk about that, Dave
Yeah.
Meltzer? All right. So the
And
good part
we're gonna
is
get flooded now with emails about what's the company's name.
yeah. No. It's called Meltzer and Ming.
Yeah.
Cool.
M&M's. The new M&M.
KOOL. Cool. Meltzer and Ming. Something like that. No cigarettes though.
No.
So the first goal as a chef is make something delicious. So it's good. It's tasty. The second is, like I mentioned, there is global warming, right? Talk to any polar bear. So a little less protein, like meat consumption, is going to be better for the environment, right? Plant-based is just better. It uses so much less water than anything else. And it's also good for your soul. So we're talking about taste good, do good, feel good. The feel good is some proceeds of the sale of Ming's Bings are going to benefit Dana-Farber, the chair that saved my wife's life, and Steve Alsapa, who's my CEO, saved his life as well. And Family Reach, which we financial help families with cancer. So it's something that's it's do good across the boards. And we've had challenges during COVID because you can't sample. I can't stand in a Whole Foods and sample people, right? COVID has changed. So we end up getting the Bing Mobile. So the Ming's Bing Mobile. We've been driving around all of New England, and we'll be doing something called Bing Dong Dine, which is a reincarnation of Ding Dong Ditch, right? And I don't know, did you see the clip? I don't know if you saw that clip. So Ginger Z on GMA covered it, which is awesome because it's for, and I want to ask everyone to do this. The hashtag is actually Ding Dong Ditch Remix. Because a traditional ding dong ditch, which we did as a kid, you ring the doorbell, you run away, the old woman or man comes out and looks around, we all laugh in the bushes, right? Well, this is ding dong ditch remix. We're still going to ring the doorbell, but instead of running away, you're going to place a basket, a box of some food or something that that friend, that family member, that person in need, or maybe someone you don't know, just to pay it forward. Do what you preach all the time, David, right? Pay it forward. Do an act of kindness. And it could be as simple as buying the cup of Starbucks for the guy behind you, right? It could be, and I just did it. I'm so proud of my son and I. We flew out to Montana here. We stopped in Minneapolis on the way. I dropped like, whatever, 30, $40 at a store, and I bought this bag of stuff, People Magazine, Junior Mints, Altoids, pretzels, and I gave it to the gate attendant. And I'm like, you know what? You guys at Delta were so great, so safe flying here. You made everyone wear masks. Everything was so super clean. I know being a frontline employee, restaurants, hospitality, airlines, it's so hard and so challenging. Thank you. And I just gave her this bag. And you know what? That made her day, right? I mean, it just made her happy. But more importantly, it made me happy, right? I don't need a handshake or a hug, and you can't even do that anyway. And what I love about the Ding Dong Ditch remix is you don't need to be there to see the reaction, because the true art of giving is you're giving because it makes me feel good. I'm not giving to let you say, oh, that was awesome, thanks for the gift. No, that's not true art of giving. The true art of giving is the act of giving itself, right? I thank Family Reach every day. I so proudly have raised over $8 million for them, right? Financially helping families with cancer. But I'm the winner because I see these kids and these families, and the fact that I have a platform like you do, that I can help pay it forward and help these people. I'm the one that gets more out of it than them. Yeah, maybe they get to stay in their home and can keep their car and stuff. That's awesome for them. But it's me. I'm filling. I have a tank of my soul, and it's filling my tank up. And that's what I love about Ming's Banks, because it's a product that is it's good, and good, right? And ideally, with this Ding Dong Ditch remix, I know that I know that Carla Hall's doing, so I sent it out to a bunch of my chef friends, and it could be you could buy a box of cookies. You don't have to make it either. If you want to make your famous lasagna, David, make your famous lasagna. Drop it off at your auntie's or your mom's or your best friend or whoever, your trainer. Or it could just literally be a Snickers bar. It's just the thought that you were thinking about them, and I'm hoping you're having a good day. And that's the whole idea.
And that's what you're about, in the balance that you provide yourself, your family, and our communities is amazing. It's so interesting to me as I historically look at your space and industry that, we've always, in history seen food as medicine. And especially over the last 2 decades, we've turned food into disease, right? Food is what's killing our kids. The food that we're eating at the schools and the hospitals,
Yeah.
everywhere is we've turned medicine into disease. And here you are with Ming's Bings, turning the most delicious. And I have to tell you, I am not a vegan. I am like you, a sporadic vegan. I try my best to eat plant-based where I can. But my only downside of it is I love flavor. I love taste.
Yeah.
And, so a good steak every once in a while with some truffle butter, it's hard to compete with until you taste something like this. I will tell you, it is up to par when it comes to the actual flavor and taste. That is incredible. And that's a gift that you've given beyond your normal giving of being a humanitarian and philanthropist like you are. Dude, we got to connect more. I got more people waiting on us, but I am a huge fan. Where can people, I know we can't all buy them around.
So you can go to mingsbings.com and learn all about the story and the history, how this company came into creation. By the way, I launched a company 1 month before COVID. I'm not that smart. I didn't know COVID was coming, obviously. I would have told you first. I would have told everyone.
I probably had it at the time you launched it. I didn't even know it because I travel the whole world.
So, by the way, this is what a Ming's Bings looked like, guys, right? I just cut this in half. So it says, yeah, sorry, I can't feed you, David. And,
you're teasing me.
You can see the watercress and the shiitakes and the pepitas and the edamames. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, I literally eat these all the time. So mingsbings.com, we're shipping all over New England now. Come December 15th, we're going to be able to ship nationally. That's the plan, assuming we can get our dry ice, the cool, and you'll be able to get it nationally. And we're starting in local grocery stores in New England, and then ideally it will be national within months. That's the idea.
You're amazing. I'm so glad that you, your family are happy and healthy. And thank you for the delicious delicacies that you're providing all of us. Mingsbings.com. You got to check it out. One of my dear friends. Great to see you.
Dave, hey, by the way, next year at the Masters, buddy. Because this year wasn't the same.
You got
next year. All right.
Sure.
Take care, Dave. Thank you so much, man. God bless to you.
I'm going to have those Ming's Bings with my black miso cod, which may be the best cod I've ever had, cooked to literally 1,000 people. The guy just pounds it out at the highest quality. Mike, good to see you in here. The great advocate down there in Florida. for small business rights. Good to see you, Mike. Welcome to our IG Live. All right, we are flying through. Remember, in about 2.5 hours, we're doing training on budgeting. A little pragmatic training, but it's the time of year that I got to teach people what I know, all the dummy tax that I've paid about budgeting, personal and professional budgeting. Let's go through and give you some simple, easy ways to make more money, help more people, and have more fun next year. We can all do that together. Gemma, Gifsa, we had our TV show, 2-Minute Drill, finish up filming yesterday, and everybody, all the great judges that I mentioned before, they got a GIFSA. That's a delivery of all branded 2-Minute Drill items. Thank you so much. It was really, really great. All right, what do we got here? Is Charles Cox in the house? If not, let me just take another question here, and we'll kind of go from there. I live in Brazil, 3-degree world, third world, or sorry. How to prosper in such poverty around. The poverty around is what teaches you to prosper. Find out what your capabilities are. Focus within. Have the skills that are aligned with what's doing well now. The knowledge of not only what, but who it takes in order to effectuate that grand idea of yours. And then utilize the advantage you have by living in poverty, a desire to must be what you can be. Charles Cox, you made it at Clubhouse Swing You. What's going on? We just were talking about the Masters, so Minx, I must have known you were coming on to lead in with that. The greatest sporting event that I've been to. Everybody asked me, what's the number one sporting event? I will tell you, I've been to almost everyone, from Formula to World Cups to Olympics, and the only sporting event that has never disappointed, and I missed this year. I had a media pass, but I couldn't do the quarantine stuff because of family. 22 years I've been to the Masters in a row. It's never disappointed. And there's been years that I graciously, because I know how much a badge is so valuable, I've given my badge away, and people like, you sure you don't want to go in? And then I ended up going in anyway. And the minute I step in, I'm like, oh, thank God I came in. Thank God, even for 2 hours, there's something magical. What is it about golf in general that can bring that type of feeling? I mean, because it's not the most popular sport in the world, but yet there's something magical about the Masters and the game of golf.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to the tour game as much, but from an amateur perspective, I can give you my personal opinion. I didn't grow up playing the game. I became obsessed with it later in life. But from a competitive athlete perspective, to have a game that you can't blame anybody but yourself for the result, right? You can never not shoot a lower score the next day. It's a great fit for anybody that's that perfectionist, that athlete that loves a scorecard, loves to measure him or herself against excellence every day. I'm obsessed with it. It's great exercise. It's you can play it until you die, right? So it's got a lot of competitive advantages. It's not bad on the body, right? You can walk and burn 500 calories. It checks all the boxes for me.
And for me, and it aligns with your business. You're the CEO of Swing You, an academy of golf, teaching people. I don't think there, and I've played all these sports as well. And, I'm a huge football fan. If I could play any sport, I would play my whole life. It'd be football. Sure. But unlike golf, it's not a game like you could play till the rest of your life. Sure. You won't be walking. But what's so interesting for me is if people would ask me where I've learned the most lessons. Ironically, you're the CEO of Swing You. I think there's more parallels and alignment in golf with life lessons than any other sport because of the nature of the game. And I bet you at Swing You that if you take in those lessons for a better golf game, that it actually probably can translate over into your life. What are some of those lessons that you're teaching? Why people find Swing You so valuable?
Yeah, I mean, golf is, I think, the most difficult sport in the world. I played football and basketball and baseball, not at the highest level, but at the high school level, and was obsessed with those. And pretty much every sport I've given a shot at. And I used to roll my eyes at the golf life analogy 10 years ago. But as I played more, and as I kind of got obsessed with it and started to get a little bit better. I think it's a pretty on the money analogy. Because over I think it's a great analogy because over the span of 18 holes, right? Just like life, and I know you've experienced this and I've experienced this, ups and downs, right? As an entrepreneur, you're on top of the world for one hole, for 1 year, right? You think you're going to crush it the next year, recession hits or something doesn't go your way or, investment money doesn't come in. And, that's kind of your double or triple bogey hole. And you got to pick yourself up by the bootstraps and have a short memory, right? And learn from that and put that in the back of your mind, put that out of your mind and then go execute the next hole. So I think from a business entrepreneurial perspective, it's an on the money analogy, right? Just the ups and downs and the highs and lows. And one day you think you're going to crush it. And the next day, you're fighting depression, right? And that's just, that's golf in a nutshell.
One advantage of the business of golf is the money that's tied to it and the clientele that plays it.
Yeah.
And you have taken a different approach. When people think of Swing U, they probably think that you're going to teach me my swing. I kind of saved it for the last question. What do you teach at Swing U and who are you teaching?
Yeah, we stay away from the swing. We have a B2B side of our business. We work with 100 of the top coaches in the world on app development and marketing, and so that they can handle the swing much more in a much more qualified way than we can, because the swing is such a personal thing, right? There is no one way to go about it. Setup, posture, alignment, all those things can change based on different matchups and all that good stuff. We focus on two things, really. I think it's unquestionable that you always play better golf if you have a caddy. Not many amateur golfers have the experience to have a caddy. It's a pretty expensive add-on to a golf experience. 9 out of 10 courses don't offer caddies. So we try to provide a digital caddy on the course through the app. Trying to mirror that experience of having a caddy that tells you to kind of think before you act, right? Whether it's wind speed, elevation, plays like distances to holes and hazards, and what you did on this hole last time you played, those reminders, all those elements that make you play better golf on the course. Think through the round in a non-intrusive way, right? You have to proactively, push buttons and get those outputs, but we try to offer a premium digital caddy experience on the course, and then off the course through stats analysis, through performance tracking. We try to provide kind of an online academy experience. So we launched something recently called Swing U Versus, which we're really excited about. You pick a target handicap. So if you're a 20 handicap player, you can choose 10 to 15. If you're a scratch player, you can choose +1 to +3, +4 to +6, which is tour player level. And based on that target handicap, we'll give you back a handicap for every part of your game. So maybe David Meltzer goes out there and he shoots 80 and he drove the ball like a scratch player. He hit approach shots like a 10 handicap. He chipped and pitched like a 3 handicap. His sand game was like a 12 handicap, and he putted like a +3, like a tour player. And so based on those different elements, we focus you on what would gain you the most strokes versus your target handicap the quickest, because we know David is not going to practice 2 hours a day every day. When you can get out there, you usually want to play, right? And if you're going to practice, it's usually 1 or 2 hours a week at most. So how do we focus you on what would move the needle the most? And so it's a digital caddy experience. It's an off the course, elite level, tour level, strokes gain stats and game improvement experience. So we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it's such a great company. And what I love about it, it does mirror what's important, because you really elevate the mindset of the game, the heart set of the game, the emotional aspect of how you feel about your game by giving the correct data, giving some certainty to what's going on, some aggregated data that allows you to see things at a bigger picture. Because, when you're shooting in the 80s, that's a lot of shots to remember. And You can't
Sure.
remember exactly how many even putts you have or where the weakest part of your game. And it always feels like to a lot of people, oh God, when my short game's on, I can't drive the ball. When I'm driving the ball, I can't sink a putt.
Sure.
Now you have some proof of that. But it's not just the mindset and the heart set. What Swing U also deals with is allowing you to think, say, do, and play and believe, utilizing your own potential, your own characteristics, personalities, your own swing, allowing you to have a pocket caddy to assist you to elevate. And I know the biggest frustration for the mid-level golfer, most people may not know this, 99% of all golfers cannot break 100 if they're scoring correctly. But those that can, the number one thing and complaint that they'll have is, gosh, I play so much. I feel like I'm working so hard and I'm never any better. I'm always still a
Right.
9, a 10, a 12, whatever it may be. Where can people find Swing U?
Yeah, I mean, both app stores, Apple and Android. You can type in Swing U, letter U, Swing University. You type in golf GPS, we come up to the top of the rankings usually. Go to our website, swingu.com, and click on Apple or Android, and it takes you right to the App Store. So and there's a free version and there's a premium version. So the premium version gives you, more features on the course, more game improvement features off the course. But to your point, I think the average amateur, you tend to remember one really bad moment on the course. You tend to focus on that, right? So maybe, you and I are playing and you hook your 18th hole drive out of bounds and you say, hey, I drove like crap that day. But actually, when you look at the data, you left yourself a lot of good lies. And really, if you had chipped and pitched better, that would have been the difference maker. So instead of going banging your driver for an hour on the range tomorrow, go chip and pitch. And I've been using this the beta software on the strokes gain stuff the last 5-6 months. I've dropped 4 or 5, which is pretty incredible. What moves the needle, as opposed to just banging balls with no real vision or no real plan, right? Most amateurs don't have a plan. And even when they spend the money on a lesson, they kind of go in there with a blank slate. And so even to come into an instructor and say, hey, I've been tracking my stats in the course, and this tells me I'm losing the most strokes versus the handicap I want to get to. Let's do a lesson on this, right? As opposed to starting from ground
And that's
zero.
the
So,
And that's the big value. Well, you
yeah.
got to go check it out. Also at clubhouse.swingu, swingu.com. Check it out. Incredible. I guarantee to lower your game. Dave Meltzer will give that guarantee. Thanks so much. Take
Thanks,
care,
brother.
Charlie.
Thanks for having me. Take
You
care.
got it. Charles Cox, check it out. Swing U. Thank you, everyone. I got to get ready here. We're about 2 hours and 12 minutes away from free training. The training today is on budgeting, personal and professional budgeting. Check it out. If you miss it, it's featured on Spotify. All the trainings I've done featured on a playlist called the Playbook. The Playbook is featured on Spotify, Entrepreneur, and every platform. Check it out. You'll enjoy it. Leave me a comment. Email me if you want the exercises, the books, the guides. I'll sign it, send it to you, ship it, pay for shipping. I don't care. All you got to do is email me, david@dmeltzer.com. Most importantly, everyone, remember, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. I'll see you at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2